Hi, I'm Lauren Westwood. Welcome to my guide on how to write, structure, and edit a novel. This is your guide to getting your basic ideas down on paper so that you're ready to crack that opening chapter and be ready for NaNoWriMo, which is coming up in only about a week or so. Last time we discussed getting your basic idea down on paper in a few sentences or a paragraph. So if you've gone ahead and done that exercise, then you're ready to move on to the next exercise, which I call getting inside your character's head. So our goal at the end of this session, so your output, is going to hopefully be a page or so of bullet points that sets down the essence of your main character. Now, you may well want to do this for more than one character. For example, if you're writing a romance, you may want to write down bullet points for your two main characters. But for now, let's start out by focusing on one. So today I'm going to use as an example my main character, Nicola, who's in my new novel, Moonlight on the Thames. And the main thing we want to flesh out in advance for a character before we even start writing are the initial situation of the character, her goals, the lies or misinterpretations of the world that character has, and what is the character's change going to be when you reach the end of the journey. So you'll note that I didn't say physical description, though if you are starting out and want to brainstorm some physical characteristics or adjectives that describe your main character, that's perfectly fine and will probably be helpful. But the main thing that we really want to develop is an understanding of our character's mental state, so that every scene we write from their point of view is on the terms of their understanding of the world and their relationship to other characters. So we're going to start out by talking about the initial situation. So the goal here is that when you start writing, you're really inside the character's head on page 1 of the book, and that's where you want the reader to be too. So in Moonlight on the Thames, Nicola starts out as kind of an anti-heroine. She's almost a Scrooge-like character. So some bullet points that I think would describe her at the opening might be very career-driven woman. She works in finance in London. She's sexy and attractive and uses this to get ahead. She's closed off and alone. She pushes people away. She hates Christmas, and she's having an affair with a married man. So I have to say that does make her sound pretty unlikable at the opening. So I'm going to need to make her a bit more relatable when I write the opening scene. And the good thing though is that if she starts out quite badly, this gives her room to grow. So now I'm going to move on to Nicola's goals. So her goals is that she feels guilty and she wants to break off her affair. She wants to get through the holiday season, which makes her feel lonely. So those are kind of her initial goals that will change over the course of the book, but this is just how she starts out. I think her eventual goal is more thematic, which is to come to terms with her past, to forgive herself, and to allow herself to love and be loved. So these elements tie in with the last set of bullet points, which is the change that the character undergoes. So the reason why we're so focused on the goal of the character is called the narrative drive of the novel. We need the characters to have goals so that we can root for them. Do they achieve their goal or not? And also worry about them when obstacles get in the way of them achieving their goal. So the next bullet point lies in their misinterpretation of the world. Now this one can be a little bit hard to explain, but I'm going to give it a go. So think of it as the falsehood that the character believes, which is holding them back. So for example, Nicola sort of mistakenly believes that every man is bad because she's had a bad experience in her past. She believes that she's not capable or deserving of love. She believes that she doesn't need any change in her life because things are, pretty good as they are. She's got a good job, things like that. She's just got to get through the holiday season and then she's fine. In another book I wrote, Finding Dreams, the main character Lizzie starts out as a typical middle class mother, and then she discovers that her husband has been cheating on her and run up a lot of debt, and she's about to lose her home. So after she comes to terms with that, then she believes that it's pointless for her to ever try to find love again. So in the way, these falsehoods or lies that the character believes are really the things that shape their worldview. They're sort of personal, internal obstacles that keep them from moving on from their initial situation. So we'll talk about obstacles in more detail, but these mistaken beliefs really add depth to the character, and we want our characters to be multidimensional, real people, so not just cardboard cutouts. So the final thing that we want to nail down in our one-page character description is the change that the character goes through. So this is from the start to the finish of the book. Now, you may have already covered this when you decided whether you were going to have a happy ending or not. So in the case of Nicola, her ending situation is kind of both real, and it also ties in with the theme or the message of the book. So I might write down when I'm planning it that she learns that she can love and be loved. She learns that she needs to forgive herself in order to forgive others. Does she end up in a relationship or not? Does she change her job to something worthwhile? She's still the alpha female, and I think that the main thing is that she needs to channel her strength and her power in a more productive way. So setting this out on paper, even before we start, gives us a roadmap. So you may not have any idea how your character is going to get to the ending point, and that's perfectly fine and totally normal. But it's just generally helpful to know where you want the character to end up. So if you do a page of bullet points along these lines, then congratulations, you've done some really useful work. Remember, you do have the whole book to evolve your character, so it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't expect your one page to cover everything. But I just want to say one more final word on character and reiterate something I said before, which is that the more you can really think like your characters and really hear their voice in your head, then the more realistic they'll be. So it may sound a little funny or even a little schizophrenic, but I think one fun little exercise that you could do just when you're walking around is take some time out and try to see the world through your character's eyes. So not looking through the filter of your eyes as a person and a writer, but as the actual character. So when I was writing Nicola, I used to leave work and walk to Marble Arch tube station, imagining that I was her, sexy, confident, well-dressed in a nice suit and high heels, feeling that people are looking at her, which is really the opposite of things that I am in real life, but it was kind of fun, and even if that never made it to the pages of the book, the more time that I spent being actually in her world, then the more authentically I could bring her to life on paper. And really, that is the ultimate goal of what we're trying to do as a writer. So my next post is on problems and obstacles. Thank you very much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please do share and please do leave a comment. Thank you very much.